Born in San Diego, California in 1975, Ryan Smith had endless curiosity and a love for adventure from childhood. He wanted to see the world and learn about its different cultures. His deep interest in the variety of peoples, their ways of life, languages, and traditions finally pushed him to leave his home country when he turned 27 years old. Determined to see the globe for himself, Ryan focused on countries in Eurasia, especially former parts of the Soviet Union. In 2022, carrying only his backpack and big dreams, Ryan left for distant Azerbaijan, a former Soviet country located between the Caspian Sea and the tall Caucasus Mountains. Sitting at the meeting point of Eastern Europe and Western Asia, this country offered a perfect starting place for an eager traveler beginning his journey of discovery. Ryan settled in Baku, Azerbaijan's capital, where he learned the local language and customs. Through his personal blog, he wrote about his time working at a carpet market within the city's old walls, an experience that introduced him to one of the region's oldest and most valued crafts. The art of carpet weaving passed down through generations was a dying tradition, yet one that fascinated him deeply. Captivated by the skill and beauty of the handmade carpets, Ryan began to picture a business centered on their creation. In December 2005, carrying this idea with him, he returned to America to build the foundation for his new business. During this period, he met Laura Joy, a young and charming teacher. Their connection quickly grew, leading to engagement and later marriage. Laura fully supported her husband's love for travel and foreign cultures. In 2011, the couple visited Georgia, a former Soviet country next to Azerbaijan, and finally settled in the town of Marily. There, they planned to start a business focused on making traditional handwoven carpets. In 2014, their family grew with their son's birth, whom they lovingly named Caleb. At the same time, Ryan and Laura were building their long-hoped-for carpet weaving business. A project that combined American business skills with traditional Azerbaijani craftsmanship. Carpets made through this detailed method could sell for over $1,000 in international markets. While Laura taught English at a local public school, Ryan traveled through nearby villages, looking for skilled weavers who could join their growing business. To Ryan's surprise, he found that very few craftspeople still use traditional weaving methods. Many people who first joined his project later left for different reasons. Some disagreed with the pay he offered, while others felt unsure about working with a foreign designer and doubted they could meet his standards. In his blog, Ryan wrote that he spent 4 days in Kosalari, where he finally found a group of craftsmen truly interested in his idea. Ryan's goal went far beyond making money or keeping an ancient art form alive. He also wanted to act as a kind of community helper, bringing together rural women skilled in traditional weaving and giving them a chance to revive the craft while supporting their families. Before long, Ryan and Laura Smith had earned recognition as two of the most respected and admired Americans living in the area. The small town with a population of only 20,000 became a beloved home for Ryan and his wife Laura. She quickly built connections within the community, made friends through her teaching job, and adopted local customs. Meanwhile, Ryan gained widespread respect for promoting and protecting the ancient art of carpet making. The townspeople saw the Smiths as kind, reliable, and generous, people they could always count on for help. The American couple became so deeply connected to community life that in 2012, they applied for and received dual citizenship in both America and Georgia. Rumors spread that they planned to build a preschool and playground using their own money, a sign of their commitment to the community. But just when it seemed they had found their true home and a bright future for their family, tragedy struck, destroying their dreams in the most terrible and unthinkable way. On July 20, 2018, 43-year-old Ryan and 42-year-old Laura decided to take a short vacation with their son Caleb to get away from their daily routine. Laura's friend, Sabina Talaba, remembered receiving a phone call from Laura on Wednesday, July 4. During that conversation, Laura excitedly shared their plan to head to the mountains for a 2-day getaway. The couple picked a quiet, beautiful spot near the mountains, an area famous for its hiking trails, amazing waterfalls, and dramatic gorges. It seemed like the perfect place for peaceful walks and family picnics surrounded by nature. However, instead of finding the peace they wanted, the Smith family would soon face an unimaginable nightmare. Before leaving, Ryan and Laura looked for a local guide who could go with them through the rough terrain, making sure they could explore safely without fear of getting lost. The parents were especially worried about little Caleb's safety. They wanted the trip to be comfortable and not too tiring for their young son. To make this happen, they met with a local shepherd named Malchus Carberry, although only 19 years old and not originally from the area. Malchus knew the surrounding mountains very well, as he spent most of his days herding sheep and goats there. Malchus had a reputation for being calm and reliable. The locals saw him as a good-natured young man. Trusting the positive recommendations about him, the Smith family decided to hire Malchus as their guide. However, their confidence in him would soon prove to be tragically wrong. Not long after setting out into the mountains, the Smiths would discover Malchus' sinister intentions. According to later reports, the group hiked up the mountain and after reaching a clearing, set up camp to prepare dinner. Unaware of the danger that was about to unfold, they set up their camp near one of the many natural springs in the area so they could have access to fresh water and cool off in the summer heat. At some point, Ryan began to feel uneasy about their young guide. Noticing that Malchus was being careless with the gun he always carried. Concerned, Ryan confronted him, and what began as a tense exchange quickly turned into a deadly argument. Without warning, Malchus aimed his weapon at Ryan and shot him in the head, then fired a second time into his back. The mountains echoed with gunfire, followed by Laura's terrified screams and the desperate cries of baby Caleb. But the horror didn't end there. Ignoring Laura's pleas for mercy, Malchus turned the gun on the child and pulled the trigger at point-blank range. In shock and disbelief, Laura froze. Unable to understand the nightmare that had just happened before her eyes. But when Laura met Malchus' cold, emotionless gaze, she instantly understood his deadly intentions. Her survival instinct kicked in, and she ran with all her strength, desperate to escape the same fate as her husband and son. However, when she reached the edge of a steep waterfall, she realized there was nowhere left to go. Cornered and terrified, Laura faced her killer as Malchus forced her into submission at gunpoint and then, according to investigators, pushed her off the cliff. Her body landed near the bank below the falls. The investigation later revealed that Malchus had taken Caleb's small body and buried it in a remote area, hiding the murder weapon alongside it. After committing the horrific crime, the shepherd returned to the village as though nothing had happened.
If you're enjoying this story, kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. It is free and won't cost anything, but it means the world to us. We're just a small channel trying to grow. Thank you and back to the video.
Meanwhile, Laura's close friend, Sabina, grew increasingly alarmed when 3 days passed with no word from her. The family had vanished without a trace. Sabina tried repeatedly to reach Ryan and Laura by phone, but neither of them answered. Their friends and colleagues grew increasingly worried. It was completely unlike Ryan to go off the grid for so long. On Friday, July 6, the Center for Rapid Response and Emergency Situations received a report about the possible disappearance of an American family in the Georgian mountains. The caller was Sabina, who explained that the Smiths had gone into the mountains over 2 days earlier with their 4-year-old son and had not made any contact since. A 15-person rescue team was immediately sent to the gorge where the family was believed to be. When they arrived at the location, rescuers discovered Laura's car parked nearby along with several of the family's personal belongings scattered around the area. Following the family's trail, the search team soon made a grim discovery. A lifeless body lay at the base of the waterfall. Shocked by what they had found, rescuers intensified their efforts and expanded the search area. About 800 meters from the falls, they came across another body. Because of the summer heat and humidity, decomposition had advanced quickly, making it difficult to identify the victims at first. Authorities initially reported that the remains showed no clear signs of violence in accordance with the Georgian Criminal Code. An official investigation was launched. However, there was still no trace of the couple's young son. 3 days later, investigators uncovered a crucial lead. The last person known to have been with the Smith family was 19-year-old shepherd Malchus Carberry. He was detained for questioning and during interrogation, he revealed that he knew where little Caleb could be found. For days after the Smith family set out for the mountains, Malchus led investigators to the secluded spot where he had buried little Caleb along with the murder weapon. The following day, Georgian police officially announced that the young shepherd, Malchus Carberry, had been taken into custody and charged with the brutal murder of the Smith family. News of the horrific crime spread quickly, shocking the entire nation, especially the small community of Manoli and the local network of weavers who had known the Smiths well. The American consulate expressed deep concern over the tragedy and the FBI joined the Georgian authorities to assist with evidence collection and analysis. On July 11, the TLI Municipal Court ordered that Malkus remain in custody pending trial. Despite the overwhelming evidence, the young shepherd maintained his innocence, claiming instead that two unidentified foreigners in a black car were the true perpetrators of the Smith family's murder. According to Malkus' account, the two mysterious foreigners had murdered the Smith family and then threatened to kill him and his relatives if he went to the police. They allegedly spared his life only to make him appear guilty of the triple homicide. Malkus' lawyer denied any allegations of sexual violence against Laura, insisting that his client was incapable of such an act, claiming he was still a virgin. On July 12, relatives, friends, and members of local organizations gathered outside Ryan and Laura's home in Manoli, bringing flowers, toys, and candles to honor the memory of the victims. The following day, Malkus' defense attorney reaffirmed his client's innocence, repeating the claim that two unidentified foreigners were responsible and that Malkus' initial confession had been made under intense psychological pressure. However, as the investigation progressed, evidence against the young shepherd began to surface one piece at a time. The most compelling evidence confirming Malkus' guilt came from the victims' autopsy reports. Ryan's body revealed two gunshot wounds, one to the head and another to the back. Caleb had been executed with a point-blank shot to the head. As for Laura, the investigation proved that she had been sexually assaulted, and DNA testing confirmed that the biological material found on her body and clothing matched Malkus'. Further forensic analysis revealed that both Ryan's and Malkus' DNA were present on the murder weapon. Additionally, an FBI examination of the victims and the suspect's phones uncovered disturbing photos stored on Malkus' device. Images of Laura's lifeless body lying by the waterfall. Shockingly, the shepherd had shown these photos to several locals, claiming he had merely discovered the corpse by chance. While exploring the area, experts discovered that Malkus' phone search history revealed visits to multiple adult websites just days before the murders. This evidence led investigators to conclude that the crime was driven by Malkus' sexual interest in Laura and that his actions had been premeditated from the moment the Smith family asked him to guide them to the waterfall. Following the release of the autopsy findings, Malkus' lawyer, David, resigned, stating that he could not continue representing the shepherd due to ethical reasons. He was soon replaced by another attorney who took over the defense and insisted on his client's innocence. The new lawyer also filed a motion to retract Malkus' earlier confession. Supporting this claim, Malkus' mother, Mariana, maintained that the police had coerced her son into confessing to a crime he did not commit. Under threat of imprisonment, the suspect's relatives claimed that authorities had targeted Malkus simply to resolve the high-profile case quickly. Nevertheless, on November 9, 2018, Malkus was formally charged with the murders of all three members of the Smith family along with additional charges related to the assault on Laura. A psychological evaluation later confirmed that the young shepherd was mentally sound, fully competent, and fit to stand trial. Although his pre-trial detention was set to end on April 9, 2019, the prosecution insisted they possessed overwhelming evidence of Malkus' guilt and vowed that he would face justice for the horrific crime. On March 25, 2019, a 12-member jury unanimously found Malkus guilty of premeditated murder carried out with exceptional cruelty against multiple victims. He carried out the premeditated murders to cover up another crime, an act of sexual assault. On March 27, 2019, the judge of the Gori District Court sentenced Malkus to life imprisonment. The ruling sparked outrage among the defendant's relatives who called the punishment unjust. However, for the friends and family of the Smiths, the verdict brought a measure of relief. The defense attorneys soon announced plans to appeal the decision, citing alleged procedural violations during the trial. The U.S. counsel in Georgia stated that the verdict delivered long-awaited justice for the Smith family, emphasizing that the evidence left no room for doubt about Malkus' guilt. From the time Ryan and Laura Smith had arrived in Georgia, they had earned the admiration and affection of the people of Manoli, and their horrific deaths left a lasting wound in the community they had come to call home. The community initiative created by Ryan not only breathed new life into an ancient craft, but also gave many women a means of livelihood and stability. The tragic death of the couple cast a shadow of grief and uncertainty over the project, leaving dozens of women who once dreamed of success in despair.
If you're enjoying this story, kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. It is free and won't cost anything, but it means the world to us. We're just a small channel trying to grow. Thank you, and back to the video.
Yet, not long after the tragedy, foreign investors stepped in to continue Ryan's mission, supporting his vision and providing new opportunities for local artisans. Ryan and Laura had left behind their familiar world in the West. Driven by a passion to uncover cultural treasures. Welcomed warmly by the community they sought to uplift. Their journey took a dark turn when they crossed paths with a sinister figure. A man who masked his evil behind the facade of a gentle shepherd. If you found this case fascinating, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We post crime case videos every night. Until next time, stay sharp, stay vigilant.